Welcome to the AZ Tech Podcast. I'm your host, Hamid. Arizona's tech ecosystem is rapidly growing with incredible companies that are shaping our future. Every week, I sit down and talk with some of the people who are making an impact in this critical sector of Arizona's economy. All right, let's go. All right, so I'm here with Alexi Venneri. Am I saying that name right?
In Italy, they'd say Venneri.
Venneri. I like that. Co-founder and CEO of digital Airstrike. Hey, Alexi, how are you?
Great. How are you today?
I'm good. I love the name Digital Airstrike. How did you come up with that name?
Well, I've been in marketing and advertising for many, many years. And I think a challenge that some of us that either do marketing or when you hire an ad agency,
right,
or not an ad agency, you throw messaging out there and you can't really take action on it, right? The
right.
leads maybe come in, they go to sales, maybe salespeople follow up on them. And, when social media was starting to become a thing, and this, I founded the company 12 years ago.
Okay.
An initial problem we identified for business owners is just knowing if consumers were talking about you and your business or your industry on all
right.
of these social channels. And we're thinking, we should be that digital air cover. Like business owners, you're the ground troops. You're in your business every single day. And then at some point, they were expected to know that someone was tweeting about them or leaving an online review or maybe message them on Facebook. So
right.
we started with this concept of air cover. But I'm like, we got to take action. We don't just, let you know when things are being said. We should have an option to strike and partner with the business owners so we can take action and ultimately build technology. So it was very exciting to actually build technology that wouldn't only get the word out about a business, but could respond to consumers with AI and, help them fill in the gaps when maybe their humans weren't able to take action.
The name has a very military connotation to it, which is we're going to strike, which I like about it. It's like an offensive as opposed to defensive type of thing. So
right.
It's a great name. So let's talk about the size of this company that you've built, which has been an incredible success story. So tell us what you can share. Number of employees, revenues. You said you started 12 years ago. So how quickly did it grow to where it is today?
Well, thank you for asking. It was in the recession, and this is one of those started in my garage stories, literally.
Yeah.
I was running an ad agency here locally, and the recession hit, and it was primarily focused on working with automotive car dealers.
Okay.
And if anybody remembers, there was a big program called Cash for Clunkers.
Yeah.
And it sounds great.
That was 2008, 9 timeframe,
yes,
right?
Good memory. So anything with wheels you could bring into a dealership and get $3,500 from the government. So much like today a little bit with some inventory challenges, the dealers just ran out of inventory. And they had no money to market. So my business partner who was, said, look, we got to shut down the agency. And it was the first time in my life I didn't have a job. And it's the recession. And I was conveniently also in the middle of remodeling a home and had a pre-construction loan approval. So we'd already started ripping out toilets and doing all this crazy stuff.
Oh,
and then
wow.
the bank went under.
So you lived in this house. Yes. Okay. So it wasn't an option. Okay, well, we'll just stay in the house that we're in.
No, that became the option. It wasn't originally going to be the option because I was getting all this money and, no loan, no job, and sitting in this torn up house going, well, what are we going to do?
How crazy.
And I happened to have a conference pass for a convention the next week and a plane ticket, but I didn't have an agency. My house was torn up. It was kind of a good excuse to leave the house that was in a state of
I need a bathroom that works.
100%. I was living near the Phoenician. I remember I would go to Stack's. If anyone remembers Stack's in Old Town, that cool burger joint by the Breakfast Club. And I'm like, that's where I'm going to use the restroom today.
Wow.
Totally. So I'm like, you know what? This is an opportunity. I've never not had a place to go at 8 a.m. in the morning, right? So I'm going to go to this conference in Las Vegas. And I ran into a bunch of people I knew. And they said, well, Lexi, what are you going to do? I said, well, I'm already getting calls for consulting, and there's a lot of things I could do. But for the first time in my life, what do I want to do? And what problem can I solve? And just sitting around at this conference with a couple other guys in the industry, and they said, well, what's the biggest problem you need to solve? And I said, you know what? Right now what I'm seeing is that businesses don't have a lot of money to advertise. And for the first time in our lives, we know where the consumers are. They're in social media.
Right.
And this is before business pages, before advertising. And I said, what if we could build some technology to reach them or to let them know that the business does care they had a bad experience and with their story they had left a negative review, and how can we fix it? I said, but it has to be technology. There's no way business owners today with the challenges with the recession are going to really figure this thing out. And I think we can figure it out. So that's where it started. We all scraped together, not a lot of money. And they were silent partners, but basically said, hey, we're here for guidance, but okay, go find someone to help you build some tech.
Okay.
So I went back to that house and, it was at my kitchen table. And slowly but surely we grew. We definitely hit on a pain point for business owners. And even though they didn't have a lot of money to spend on traditional advertising, they could find $1,000 a month to do something. And we were that something for a lot of them. So we grew to about $3 million in 18 months in revenue.
Wow, that's quick.
Yeah. And again, we were almost early to the whole social media. I mean, you couldn't create a business page for your business, no advertising. And we were really, really fortunate to get a fantastic client called General Motors, who I'd worked with in my prior career. And they had us put together a program really, really quickly. And next thing you know, 30 days later, we had 1,000 more clients. And we merged with another company, and it just
1,000 of like GM's dealers?
Yes.
Or, okay.
Yeah.
So like they pitched it for you to their dealer network
sort of
type of thing.
They just saw that this was a really big deal.
Yeah.
This is going back to when there was ignition switches challenges, and consumers were just upset, and it's a recession and no one was happy.
Right.
But we're like, well, there's lots of things we can do. First of all, when anyone's upset, you just got to respond.
Right.
You got to know they're upset. So we developed a survey that was all automated that basically connects to like a point of sale system. So every time a transaction happened, we would send out a survey on behalf of the business owners. That seems really common today. 12 years ago, no one was doing that. And then depending on the feedback, we could trigger different events. So if you responded with a Gmail, we could say, well, would you like to leave a review on Google? If there was an option to just contact the business owner, and we've developed a mobile app where that business owner that's usually too busy running their business could set up different notifications. So maybe they did want to know every time somebody mentioned their business in like an at mention or hashtag, or they checked in online. This is going back to Foursquare. I mean, we're going way back here, right?
Yeah.
But before that, they just had no idea how to even know. And then we, over time, just kept looking for gaps where consumers were more online more often, looking for information about businesses. And the businesses were busy running their businesses. So how could we integrate with CRM systems and point of sale systems and really be that translator between the consumers and the business owners?
Okay, so how big is Digital Airstrike now?
Fast forward to today. So that was, back in 2009, 2010. And we just steadily kept growing. We've not taken on a dime of investment since 2011.
Okay.
And today we are doing $40 million in revenue.
Holy cow.
165 employees,
wow.
Team members, as we love to call our team. Most of them are here in Scottsdale. And we have 4 offices. So this is our main head office here. We have a small office in Burbank, one in San Jose, and one in Tampa.
Wow, congratulations.
Thank
That's
you.
huge. 40 million is no joke. And is most of your concentration still on car dealerships, or have you gone into other areas as well?
A lot of it is. I'm kind of a fan of the good to great hedgehog concept. When something's working, stick with it.
Yeah.
But we have about 8,000 business clients today, which is fabulous. Of that, 3,500 would be franchised car dealers.
Okay.
When you include adjacent transportation like power sports dealers, RV, marine, that brings that total up to about 5,000.
Okay.
But it's been really interesting. We've been very fortunate to get a lot of business owners, even outside of automotive. Kind of anywhere consumers are going to go online, do a lot of research,
right?
Maybe have options. So, cosmetic procedures as an example. Lately, we've been doing a lot more in the healthcare field.
Okay.
So COVID testing, where do you search to get vaccinations? Education would be another one.
Right.
So it's, think about if you're going to spend some money, or it's a really important thing to research online where you're going to ultimately transact with a business and spend money, you're going to read reviews.
Right.
You might be online at midnight, once the kids are in bed and you got your work done. Everyone's got crazy schedules now because a lot of people still work from home. And maybe you want an answer to a question and a traditional business wouldn't be open. Oftentimes, our AI messaging system or chatbots can now respond to that consumer because the business owner has told us the answers.
So are you building those technologies yourself? Is your company like hiring software engineers and building that software, or are you utilizing other technologies that are sort of off the shelf or from other companies?
The vast majority is our own IP. So right from the beginning, kind of in our roots back in the recession, you couldn't just find a company to do tech for Facebook or Twitter. It didn't exist. So we've always had our own dev team. I love them. They're awesome. We were one of the first companies, I think, to really intentionally build out a technology organization here in Greater Phoenix.
Right.
One of the mergers we did was with a company in Sunnyvale, California, so just down the street from Yahoo.
Okay.
And at the time when we merged with them, they were bigger. They had more people. And our board said, well, so you're now going to move to San Jose. And I said, no, I really believe we can, have technology here in Phoenix. So we still definitely have a small office in San Jose. But I've been really proud of being able to grow our team here in the Valley. And whenever possible, we build our own technology.
Okay.
Now, sometimes, depending on the industry, the vertical, the solutions, we may need to partner with somebody to get data and to maybe have some sort of interface. Like in automotive, a lot of consumers want to see real-time images of what vehicles they could buy right now.
Right.
And we can actually even bypass a dealership's website and go into their inventory system. But that inventory piece is potentially obviously being hosted by someone else. So we do a lot of partnerships. Right now we've got 149 deep technology partnerships where we can ingest data or send data into CRM systems. So our rule has always been, we're sort of like Switzerland. Again, we're digital airstrike, we're digital aircover. We don't want to disrupt existing systems a business is using. If you love your CRM, if you love your chat provider, online chat, maybe we supplement. Maybe we can give you some features that'll just extend the value of that solution actually for your vertical.
Gotcha. But you're not selling the software to the dealers. You're selling services that you utilize your own software and technology to provide awesome services that they couldn't. Oh, you sell the software too today?
Yes, we do have platforms where you can literally just sign up. It's subscription-based.
Okay.
And if you want to log into our systems and
do it yourself.
Do it yourself, right? So one example of some of the newer technology we have is AI messaging, Omnichannel.
Okay.
So if you historically go on any business's website, and this works for any business, not just automotive, there's options to have chatbots pop up.
Right.
Or maybe it's an outsourced call center that's messaging for you.
Yeah. I'm familiar with the chat space because of Pure Chat, which is a company. Okay.
Exactly. So we opted for omni-channel messaging where it's not just limited to the website. So if someone wants to list inventory in Facebook Marketplace, we could have our chatbots respond and then take the lead out of Messenger, Facebook Messenger, and send it into their CRM system.
Right.
So again, if they prefer to get those messages in their CRM, we can be that bridge and that translator. If they, on their website, love a different chat provider, go for it. But if they want ours on the website, it can be on the website, and we can actually send text messages to the business owners. They don't even have to log into that chat platform. And the consumer can opt to make it omni-channel, so they might start on Messenger. They might then want to chat on the business's website. Then maybe they have to leave their desk, and they want to just text with the business owner. So again, we're looking for those gaps where some legacy systems might have been built for one purpose, but isn't as flexible for today's lifestyle.
So let's go back to when you started this company. How did you land on, hey, I'm going to build these technologies and, like marketing services for the automotive? What was your relationship with the automotive industry that you were leveraging to start this company?
Well, I'd been fortunate to be involved in automotive going back to, probably 2002, I think, was my first foray. Okay. I started with a VoIP tech company in Seattle. And this was when, again, it was new at the time to use different numbers to track which marketing was generating phone calls for a business. And it was all voice over IP, recorded calls. And we really just went out there to all verticals. And automotive just has such a need for some help, right? They spend a lot of money, but they're very busy selling cars. They're great people. They like to we call it belly to belly, right? When they want you in a dealership, they want to take you for a test drive, but they really didn't know what was generating inbound leads. So that's where it started. And we were in multiple verticals. But I've been really fortunate to then be involved in a number of tech companies in automotive over the years.
Okay.
But we're not just automotive. I mean, even the name.
I mean, with 3,000 customers in other sort of like sectors, that's huge. I mean, like a business with 3,000 customers would be huge on its own. So you have other customers. What are some of the other sectors? Are you focusing on other verticals, or are the other 3,000 pretty scattered?
It's primarily healthcare, education. We have mortgage companies. We have, there's a whole range. It kind of comes down to, oftentimes if consumers are doing a lot of research and they're going to spend some significant amount of money on something, a purchase.
Right.
Multifamily housing is an example. Think of your big purchases in life. It's going to be buying a house, renting an apartment, a condo, renting a house, buying a car, leasing a car, thinking about going back to school. All the things you're going to research, maybe a healthcare procedure that's not just critical care, but optional. If you're going to go online and research it, and then you want to get a lot of information about it before you spend that money, that's probably a vertical we're in.
And are you guys creating the content for these companies to like?
In some cases, we think every business, is pretty unique. So on one extreme, we have software that any business can sign up for and go on and do it themselves. All the way up to if a business wants to fully say, look, I need you to handle my entire online presence.
Okay.
So all my social networks, we want your AI messaging, your chatbots to respond to consumers. We want you to even help us advertise on streaming, like Amazon streaming. That's a big new solution we have. Right. Anywhere where we can automate something digital and then also respond to the lead. So we do have some really cool technology that when inbound leads come in, we can nurture them and respond back to the consumer and even build a micro website to help get that consumer the information they need.
Okay. All right, let's talk about the tough stuff.
I know that's a lot of stuff. You're like, whoa.
I mean, that gives us a good sort of like overview of what Digital Airstrike does. But like what I want to know is like, what were some of the biggest challenges that you had building this company? Like, was it finding the right people? Was it finding clients? Or it sounds like once the GM sort of client helped you get the first 1,000 dealerships, that sort of took care of a big portion of like building a company like this. But what were some of the other challenges? Now you have to actually service these 1,000 customers, finding the people who can actually have domain knowledge, and like, feel free to not necessarily talk about talent, but any areas of challenge that you've ran into to build this company.
Sure. Well, I think the biggest challenges ultimately became our strength. And I would start with just the economic situation of a recession.
Right.
A little different than today, but much like what's going on with the pandemic, the world was sort of in chaos at the time, right? Banks had gone under and there was so much going on.
Yeah.
And college students primarily couldn't get jobs. And I remember thinking, well, who knows social media better? And man, that would just really not be cool if you put in all this time and you had this 4-year degree, and now maybe if you're lucky, you'll get a job, at a fast food restaurant. I mean, not that there's anything wrong with that, but I'm like, man, they're so smart, and how can I go hire and provide jobs for some of these college students? So that's where it started, and we had kind of a formula. We've always had a hybrid approach. So we want to build the technology, but we also want to be there and be high touch and service the business owners. So we had a formula initially that for, maybe every 15 accounts we got, we could hire
one software grad.
Correct.
Or I'm sorry, college
They weren't even
grad.
software. Right. It was a combination. And everyone wore a million hats. They were all hybrids. And then separately, concurrently, we were hiring developers. In the beginning, it was contract, outsourced, dev teams. And then we were able to hire in-house. So we started doing things ourselves. And then we could automate internally for our own tech, but also make it client-facing for the business owners. And I'm really proud to say some of those are very original hires going on like 11 years ago are still with the company today. Gives me chills. They were able to make this their career. So having hired them as their first job out of college to now, they've gotten married, they've had kids, they're now leading departments, they're directors of teams for us is so fantastic. So that is the best thing we've ever done is we kind of had a rule in the beginning, you have to be college educated and you just can't be a jerk. I mean, that's the biggest thing. You got to be into the technology, helping us figure it out. No attitude, no politics. And we've really tried to stay to that rule. Like, come into Digital Airstrike, we're one big family, and we have a lot of values we focus on. So,
were you able to navigate the no politics over the past couple of years?
I think we've done a pretty good job. I mean, it always pops up, but we're very flat-lined in our organization. Anyone can come to me. I still every month do an employee luncheon with our new hires and our team members that are having anniversaries. So I've always been, we are one team and we're going to do it together. And I think going back to your question, when you're in a recession, it's kind of like you're in it together. And we never lost that spirit.
Right.
Another value we have is whatever it takes. And passion and action. And clients win. But we also, the last value we talk about is think like an owner. So we gave everyone stock options. We said, we are all owners in this. It's like we're in this together.
Yeah.
Kind of like in the bunker. We're going to win this war. We're going to keep moving forward. And we maintained that mindset. So the next big challenge was obviously the pandemic, right? Nobody saw this coming, obviously. And business owners, once again, like the recession, a decade before, can't spend money. This time they actually had to shut their doors, And we deal with folks not just regionally, but all across the country, even internationally. We have some clients. And to see everyone kind of go into panic mode, but to see our team be that, the calm in the storm. And we kind of talk about like threading the needle. Like we're going to find a way to still help businesses stay open. We're going to find a way to still help them transact online, even if their physical doors are closed. So I think the recession kind of put it in our DNA as a team to always have that business owner's back and always find a way. And really, the evolution of social media and the social networks, they're always changing. There's always something. I mean, Facebook was down yesterday worldwide. Did you guys know this? And that hasn't really happened. And I'm like, that's all right.
People were losing their mind over that, it seemed like.
But again, our team's like, well, there's WhatsApp, we can text, there's other ways. And this is now an opportunity. I'm sure some new development at Facebook is going to come out of what I think they were having DNS issues. So we want to be on the forefront of accepting change and being okay with it because it's going to keep changing in our world where technology is going. And we have to be that calm in the storm for the business owners.
When the pandemic ended up, like the shutdowns happened, did a lot of your business disappear or at least temporarily, or what happened?
Great question. Well, initially, with some of our clients, the knee-jerk was, we've got to cancel, we've got to pause, we can't spend money.
Right.
And we took the approach that we are going to one-on-one talk to every business owner that's probably panicking.
Okay.
And again, we're air cover, but then we're going to strike. And we mapped out a plan. And in some cases, the plan was, you actually need more of our technology right now. So we have video technology where business owners can send out video messages to their clients. We have an awesome text messaging solution where we can send out alerts.
So you were able to keep everyone busy, like employee-wise? Or did you have to let some people go? Or
we did a kind of some rolling furloughs.
Okay.
But we kept them involved. So we didn't terminate anybody. We were like, you know what? We're going to get through this together too, and we really need to be there for our business clients. And we did an optional weekly all-hands call, like a Teams or Zoom call with all of our employees, just to keep them updated. Some people voluntarily went on leave just for a while because their kids were at home, right?
Yeah.
They weren't in school. So we always try to be super flexible.
Yeah.
But ultimately, certainly some clients reduced what they were doing with us, but they've come back. Amazing. Last year, because of the recession, we did 28 million, and now we're up to 40 again. And things still are not back to normal, but I think what it actually helped educate some of the business owners is that technology is even more important.
Right.
You need to find virtual ways to connect, and that's been our DNA. 12 years ago, we're like, let's help you connect virtually with humans. It's almost like because of the pandemic, the aha moment happened with some business owners, and they said, this is no longer nice to have. I need a partner that gets technology, can help me interact virtually with consumers, and will be flexible to integrate with my existing business systems. And that's really what Digital Airstrike is.
Very cool. Originally, you're from Canada, right?
Yes.
Born there and raised there?
Born and raised. I think I dropped a sorry earlier. You might have heard it. But I've been down here now, probably 24 years, 25 years. Been a citizen for about 14 years now.
What made you want to leave Canada and live in the U.S.?
I don't know. It was a conscious decision. I've always moved for work.
I look at Canada as an extension of the United States. It's just another state.
So strange you said that. I was just at a conference last week, and someone said that being Canadian is not an ethnicity, or is not you're just not different. And I went, oh, yes, we are.
Well, you're probably less different than someone from, let's say, California versus Texas or New York and Tennessee or something.
Not really.
I don't know.
It's just very different. I think that Americans think we're very similar. We look alike, right? Unfortunately, we all, people tend to judge you by your looks, right? They think that we're American, but there's a different energy, a different compassion, a different, I don't know, we kind of sit and watch the States.
Where, better or worse?
Depends on the subject.
More energy or less energy? When you say different energy, what are you referring to?
I would say more of a European energy to enjoy your life versus just...
In Canada?
Correct.
Okay.
Versus just, the Europeans have a saying in Europe, and I would say Canada, we work to live. And I think down here, Americans live to work.
Okay.
And but I also, on the flip side, love
says the workaholic.
I am.
Built a $40 million
that's why I'm down here.
Empire. Okay.
It's like that drive, you know.
See.
And Canadians work, but I love Canada for their compassion. They're very open armed to everybody. Just there's a lot of things I really love about it, but it's not nirvana. I mean, there's a lot of things that need improvement too. We can get a whole discussion about socialized healthcare, and there's pros and cons on both sides. When anybody can go to the doctor at any time for anything. The system was maxed way before COVID up there. You could wait 6 months for a CAT scan, and you might need it, but anyone can go. I think the States attracts top talent. I mean, I'm down here. There's this, if you want to innovate, not that you can't innovate north of the border, but there's just this different energy. It's just a different energy. I don't think either side is better or worse. It's just very different.
Yeah.
And I'm blessed because I'm a dual citizen. I get the best of both worlds. So... I love my family on either side of the border. I married an American. I have a child. Yeah, no, it's all good. But
one kid,
one child, one son.
How old?
He's 10.
Okay.
That's another part of my founder story. I had him late in life, and I didn't think I could have children. And wouldn't you know it, 2 months after starting Digital Airstrike, I just didn't feel well. And I go to the doctor, and they're like, you're pregnant. So the whole time I was doing that in the torn-up house, I was also pregnant. And he's heard every sales pitch, every investor call in my belly.
That's funny.
One of our early board meetings, he was a preemie, and I had to leave a board meeting because he was in the NICU because I had to, deliver him breast milk. I mean, crazy things like that as a working mother, but I wouldn't change it. He's a great kid. He loves technology. He's a coder. He built his own video games.
Nice.
So he loves everything technology. So he must have heard a lot about it while I was starting a tech company in his early years.
So considering your clientele is dealerships, which is oftentimes a male-dominated industry, have you ran into any sort of challenges when it comes to sort of being a female entrepreneur, CEO, building a company, trying to provide services that these dealerships need, or has that never really played a part of either success or challenges that may have shut doors?
Yeah, it's a great question. I don't think it's just specific to automotive. I think, I was in sports marketing before. I worked for the Seattle Mariners, a Major League Baseball team.
Also male-dominated.
Yes. I have VCs on my board, and most of their portfolio companies, tech companies, are run by men. So certainly in some situations, I will walk into, whether it's a meeting of CEOs or back in the day, sports marketing or, in automotive, they kind of tend to judge a book by its cover and assume I am someone's executive assistant, or I'm the event planner, and they ask me when lunch will be served.
Oh.
And I'm like, well, I would love to know too, because I'm attending and I'm also a CEO. So I think unfortunately that still happens. But I think it's cool that you're doing this podcast, and the more that all industries welcome and embrace diversity in all of its forms, whether it's, gender, ethnicity, sexual orientation, and just stop labeling people. But it's going to take time, right? And truth be told, there just aren't a lot of female tech founders that are running a company that I'm running. So I kind of get it. We all make assumptions. But as long as you remember that word, what assume means, it's going to make an ass out of you and me. Just accept it. We'll all make mistakes. I've made mistakes. I've assumed someone is, I don't know, some profession when they're not, right? So I'm used to it. In some ways, maybe it gives me an advantage. I think that I'm personally able to see past that and not take it personally, but it does still come up from time to time.
Who are some of the people who have been very influential that you've been, you mentioned the book Good to Great. Have there been books or people that you've been like modeling your business after, or like who have influenced you in a pretty big way?
Yeah, that's a great question. I would say my business partners, those gentlemen that I met at that conference, and ultimately there was myself and three gentlemen that started Digital Airstrike. They have been amazingly supportive. Adam Sims, Mark Miller, and Mark Reiches. And I think they were very innovative to see early on that there was an opportunity to build technology for social media. And they gave me, who had never started my own company, a chance to go run with it during a recession. I mean, that's really awesome. And then
are they VCs or all three of them? Okay,
private investors, just
angels essentially.
Sort of, yeah. They're also in the industry, so they were aware of some of the challenges.
Gotcha.
And then I'd say our VCs have been fantastic. They've been very supportive of what we've been doing. I think they think we're the little engine that could a little bit, because a lot of VCs get into it and they want a quick turn, they want that unicorn. But we've been slowly building a business, I think, the right way. We don't spend more than we have. We cash flow our own acquisitions. We've done 6 mergers or acquisitions, all of ours on our own, without any additional funding. We run it like it's our own household budget, pretty much. Right. So when our execs come to me and they want a hire, I'm like, well, where are we revenue-wise? Where are you going to find some cost efficiencies if you're going to add an expense that's not in the budget? Like, get creative. So that spirit of creativity and doing it a little differently versus always going in for another, funding round. We're very different. And I think, again, that challenge, that opportunity was the recession.
Right.
Starting really when you had to bootstrap from the beginning, I just never wanted to not be able to have our staff make their mortgage or pay their rent or have to downsize for that reason. And always wanted to make sure we had a cushion and that we were spending the money in the way that would help our company, our team, and our clients. So, I'm very thankful I was given the opportunity, but then continually supported over the past 12 years.
But are there like CEOs or founders of other companies that you're like, this person seems to like do things in a way that I admire or whatever, that besides the investors that are directly in your company that...
Yeah, I mean, this is, a lot of people talk about Steve Jobs. I never got to meet him, but I just loved his sense of innovation and doing things right. When he talks about, if you know his story, his adopted father taught him about painting a fence. And even if you couldn't see the other side, you got to paint the other side of the fence because it's not painted.
Right.
Or he was so adamant the packaging for everything Apple that had to feel a certain way, be a certain way. And sometimes I know there's stories where they would ask Steve about, let's do a focus group. And he would say, people don't know what they don't know. I know what they want. So I feel like a little bit with social media, and we were very early and innovative. I'm like, let's try it. Let's figure it out. And I loved that about him, and I love his design sensibility. The other person I say that has become a new mentor for me is Sir Richard Branson. He's just, started off as an amazing marketer, and everything he did with Virgin Records, and back even before that started a high school newspaper. And his sense of adventure, his sense of taking care of people and doing it right and taking care of his team and not being afraid to try new industries or try to make things better. I think that's what we do too. We want to better the consumer experience. And that's exactly what he's done in his career. He recently started a cruise ship line because he hated going on cruise ships. He was the consumer and just didn't like a lot about it. And he said, I think I can do this better.
Right.
So
Isn't that how he started like every business? He's like, God, I'm going to start an airline because...
Yeah, they made him miss a flight or something. He said, oh, the flights or the plane's canceled and, you can't get out till tomorrow. He's like, that's crazy. Why isn't there a better airline that I could be on?
Right.
100%. And so he's become definitely my most kind of latest mentor, and we've been really fortunate to actually be able to meet him and spend some time with him. And that was another innovation during the pandemic. We used to always throw big client appreciation events, parties, at trade shows. And when trade shows got shut down last year and people weren't traveling, how do we connect aside from Zoom or Teams with our clients? And I had the idea that 80-20 rule, 20% of your clients are maybe giving you 80% of your revenue. And even though we love all of our clients, what if we could take just a select group of our top clients and give them a special experience during the pandemic? So last March, even before the vaccine was widely available, this past March, 6 months ago, we were fortunate to be able to work to rent out Necker Island, where Richard Branson lives.
Okay.
And he'd been kind of also trapped there for a year. And we brought our top clients there to learn directly from him.
Wow.
I said, if we can't go to a conference...
He gave you guys a presentation type of thing? Or
100%. Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's
we got
cool.
to do a Q&A session with him. We got to play tennis with him. We got to meet him. He signed books to all of us. And, in fact, we're bringing our second group of clients back this weekend. And in this case, he's going to sit down with us, and he wants to have dinner and a bonfire with us. So a little more casual. So it's going to hopefully be amazing. I mean, he's amazing. But just getting to know his staff and his charitable efforts. And that's another thing we do a lot of at Digital Airstrike. We love to give back to the community and charities.
So how do you just go down the list of like the most spenders with in terms of clients? Who gets an invite with?
Sort of. I mean, yeah. We like to interact with our clients that use as many of our products as possible, which does equate to spend. Some of it's longevity. Some of it is their reach. So if they've got a lot of locations and individually a location may just use part of our solution, but maybe they're a franchisee. They've got a number of locations that we could learn from as well. So it's not just them learning. We want to learn from them and get them one-on-one and do a focus group to learn how we could get better as their business partner.
That's awesome. So where's the island at, by the way?
It's in the British Virgin Islands, and it's not just one island. He owns multiple islands. Necker, everyone's going to now Google this. It's amazing. It's paradise. It's something he bought, another great story with Richard, in the 70s to impress, at the time, his then girlfriend, who became his wife, Lady Joan. And it was nothing. It was just, a piece of land. And he's completely developed just a paradise. Everything is, he's focused on conservation efforts. The power is through windmills. He's saved thousands of flamingos. I mean, what does this guy not do? It's amazing. But he's really created this perfect paradise where I do think celebrities and some other companies go for retreats.
Okay.
So you have to book out the whole island, and they just take care of you for like a week. And
how many people do you take out for this?
Necker has about 20 villas.
Okay.
So with your staff taking up some of them, I think the last time we were there was 16 clients with their guests. So 32 humans were kind of taken care of when they're there with our staff. And the second island, it's his newer island, he built homes for his children on. Okay. But when they don't use it, they rent it out as well. So it's a mini Necker, and it is boat ride from his main island. So this time we're going to go check out the smaller island. But it's amazing. Tennis pavilions, lagoons, water sports, big kind of huge living rooms they call great rooms, where he encourages, leaders of countries to come and have this brain trust, like a G Summit. So we actually call our events G Summits, the G7, the G20. But he's literally done that with like Nelson Mandela and presidents, and they sat in the same room that we now bring our clients to meet in. So that's kind of inspiring.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
And really, we, in the beginning you think, oh, I can't wait to meet Richard. But it was really his staff. And the type of people he attracts, I think amazing, innovative people attract amazing, innovative people. So to meet his team is really cool and hear their stories. Right. And their level of service and attention to detail is unmatched. It's, no offense to our Disney fans, I'm looking at one here in the room. It's like Disney on steroids. I mean, It is incredible. They think of things that, before you think of it. And it's something that at Digital Airstrike we would aspire to do for our clients as well. So we just get inspired and get recharged and get to hang out with just a brilliant individual, Richard Branson.
What were some of the big takeaways? That the first time that you went there and met with Richard Branson, what were some of the aha, like this is something I need to do in my business, that you were like, this is like something I'm going to go back with and immediately?
There were some small ones and big ones. I'll give you a tactical one.
Okay.
Before we went, we had to be vetted, but he asked everyone that he was going to interact with or his staff were going to interact with for a small bio. At the time, I'm like, a bio on everyone? Even their guests. Like, not even, like, it didn't matter if you were, the guest was in business, in charge of the home, personally, and they wanted photos and they wanted a little bit about you and where are you from? And if you had a question that going to this retreat you would love answered. That was it. And it seemed like a minor tactical check the box thing, but it was so cool because we not only gave it to Richard and his staff, but we gave it to everyone attending. And you had this little blurb. It's like someone opened a window to who they were. And then you get to meet them and you had a conversation starter. It could have been, I'm a stay-at-home dad and I love golf, or I used to, run track in high school, whatever the little tidbits were that people chose to share with you. And it was just really, really cool. So now I feel like all conventions or even Zoom calls, I'm like, I want to know a bit about these people before I get on a call with them. So that was just a very tactical thing. I think it's great to not just be so business oriented, but know people as humans, even
on the personal level.
Yeah, but even if you're there for business.
Yeah.
So that was really, really great. That was super small and tactical, but really amazing. He also just thought of ways to make life easier. And I can tell you, we were a year into the pandemic. We weren't of age to yet get vaccines. And to just the little thoughtful things they would do, they literally say, don't bring a hairdryer, don't bring sunscreen. We got you. You want sandals? We got them. Like just the little thoughtful things. If we can all be a little more thoughtful in business and life, it's pretty cool. And then certainly every time you turned around, he's so environmentally conscious. Like you'll just be walking down this gorgeous trail and you'll see golf balls and a set of golf clubs that allows you to hit them into the ocean. And you're thinking, well, one, that's kind of fun, but man, I don't think you should hit golf balls into the ocean. Of course, it's fish food, and they're biodegradable golf balls. And there's a little sign to tell you that. I'm like the oh wow moments. There were so many oh wow moments that it inspires you as a business leader to go back to your business, to think of how you can bring back some of those oh wow moments to your team and to your clients. So that was the biggest thing. And then just the way his mind works and how humble he is and sweet and kind. Just all good reminders. I feel like the whole time you're like, check, check, check. We got to do more of that. It's really, really cool. And then the last thing we all got out of it was the networking. I do not think people really understand how stressful it's been to just be on Zoom calls for however many months or over a year now. And just to relax and get back to being with people again.
Yeah,
we had so many COVID tests, something like 5 tests in 4 days. But to be on that island, and literally there's no COVID on the island. It just doesn't exist. So to take off your mask and get back to just, being social with people again, what that does to recharge you is fantastic. So we still got to be safe. We all know this, but that was really inspiring too, to just have that break.
Yeah.
And then you come back stronger than ever, even if you're on 1 million Zoom calls a day again. So
you get recharged.
100%.
Sounds like it was super special. That's pretty awesome. What do you do for fun?
I travel. That's probably the biggest thing. I love to plan the trips. So after, a long day at work, I like to go home and think about the next, amazing location. And we've been fortunate to travel even during the pandemic as soon as we could. We went to Iceland this summer, and I'd never been to Iceland. And we got into Italy, and I feel like I was like we were one of the first families to ever come to Italy, to the Rome airport once they lifted restrictions. I've never in my life seen you show up to an international destination, and in that case, it's like EU.
Like nobody.
EU passport holders go there. And other Europeans have been traveling. Non-EU, not a single human. And we got up to the terminal. I thought the immigration guy wanted to hug us. And everywhere we went, they're like, are the rest of them coming? And I'm like, who? They go, the Americans. Italy loves Americans. It's great. So that's been kind of interesting. We've gone to Mexico. We've gone to British Virgin Islands. So it's been great to travel again. I love to write. I'm an author. Poetry, I'm very creative that way. And I also love to...
You have a book too, right?
I do. Yeah.
What's the book?
I wrote it a long time ago. It's called BALLS.
Okay.
6 Rules to Winning the Business Game. And it's
Okay.
an acronym for being brave, authentic, loud, lovable, and spunky. And that is only 5. The last one, it's an exclamation mark at the end of the title of BALLS. And it's really an inverted I to go get inspired and put the book down and just try something new. So, and then I also love to design homes and buy homes and renovate homes and flip homes.
You do that in your spare time?
Yes, yes. And we bike ride with my son. He's into sports. He's getting into hockey, all of those things. So, but I really think, we're humans of the world, and to travel and to try new things. I mean, that's what it's all about. So that recharges me as well.
Yeah, that's awesome. What's your typical day like? You're obviously super busy with work, managing such a large company, but how do you fit everything in? What do you do? You wake up. What's the first thing you do?
I have a cup of coffee. Okay. I've been trying to have my greens with my coffee.
All right.
Some juice, but my first secret is I have an amazing team. Our team at Digital Airstrike is incredible. I'm looking at Haley here sitting there. They're all flexible. They know my schedule's a little crazy. A number of years ago, I realized that I'm not a morning person. I get up in the morning. But in the morning, if I can kind of get to emails and take care of my son, I have an incredible husband who also works at Digital Airstrike, Dave Venneri.
What does he do?
He's now our chief revenue officer.
Okay.
So he joined the company about halfway in, about 6 years ago.
So he reports to you?
Not technically. He reports to our CFO.
Oh, okay.
Per board rules, but yes. But he takes care of the revenue, and he's run our client success team in the past. So he's great. So he's the morning guy. So he'll get up and do all the morning things, and I'm easing into my day. And then I usually just immediately jump online, and there'll be, fires and things you got to do. But I do have some rules that if I'm going to open an email, I'm going to try to respond, even if it's super brief.
Right.
So I usually warn people, you'll get brief responses back from me. Doesn't mean I'm annoyed. It's just that's all the time I have, right? And then usually midday, I'll go in the office, or if I'm traveling, and we've got, I don't like to be in every meeting, but I usually like to know about the meetings. So I have some interesting rules where I asked to be put on distro lists just to see the meetings that are going on and know who's going to be meeting. But I think sometimes we over-meeting at work. So if we can cut those down to 30 minutes or have action items for the meeting or recap notes after the meeting. So I'm a little bit like an air traffic controller, where I like to know what's going on, and I swoop in sometimes and jump in. But we have a fantastic leadership team. They're amazing. They're flexible, and they really keep the ship running. And the bottom line is we just care about our clients and our team, and we try to offer our team members unique benefits. And I try to be engaged in all the employee
What's
events.
one of those unique benefits that sticks out?
Oh, my gosh, there's so many. One that is probably very unique is that historically, when I've been a part of companies with high-performing sales teams, there's a president's club, right?
Okay, yeah.
I just
oftentimes it's for the sales team, but is yours
for everyone?
Oh, that's
so
good.
I think it takes a village, right? It's not.
Right.
I love our sales team; they got to go and put themselves out there and sell. But what about who services it? What about our developers that built the tech? What about our product team? What about marketing and PR and client support?
It's always annoying to me that companies don't value the rest
That's
as
what
much.
I thought,
okay.
right?
So your president's team is more inclusive?
From the beginning.
Okay.
I'm like, but how do you can't have your whole company go on these trips. Right. So sales and our account managers can earn a spot, right? Everyone else, we do a monthly award called the Whatever It Takes Award. And anyone can nominate anybody. We pick 8 winners. And based on whether you were nominated, or you won, you get raffle tickets.
Okay.
So at the end of the year, we have a holiday party, and we draw who else gets to go on this trip. So about half the trip is sales, about half is not sales.
Okay.
Which is pretty cool. And then we pick unique locations. So this year we're going to Paris and London over New Year's.
Nice.
And we're threading that needle as long as the vaccines or things aren't shut down. And then what the benefit, not only for the team to go on a trip, but the real benefit for Digital Airstrike is now more people in the company know each other.
Yeah.
So as we get bigger, how cool that the top sales people get to know the people that built the technology, and the technologists get to hear how they sell it and the benefit to the clients, and everyone creates a bond. And so we really are more like a family, and you do spend more time with the folks you work with than usually, unfortunately, your family at home.
Right.
So the more we can find ways where they do outings, we do a lot of charitable events, and then we like to, again, give back to our team members. So the more charities you contribute to or events you go to, you get points for days off. So those are a couple things that we do. But it's been really, really fun to build an environment in a place that I want to go to every day and work at with people that I really love working with.
I think that's one of the funnest parts about having a company is that you can build it the way that you want. Like you can build it in such a way that you want to work there yourself.
100%. Right? I love working at Digital Airstrike. And that's been think of all of the years. The benefit of being an older founder, startup person is that I had a lot of years of going to work at places that I didn't love. Maybe they were fine, but there was always that moment where you're like, oh, why do they do it this way? Why can't people outside of sales go on the trip, And, in the back of your head, you're like, when I have a company, I'll do it this way. So it's been fantastic to actually be able to do that, and I'm so blessed.
Well, very cool. I'm glad you spent a little bit of your day with me, and it's been a pleasure getting to know you, Alexi. Is there anything you want to talk about before we wrap up? I know we're short on time as well.
I'm just thrilled that the tech community in Arizona is growing and that you're doing podcasts like this and talking to founders and entrepreneurs. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, of course.
And I think the more that we learn about innovation here in the Valley, the better. And we can attract more talent here, too. I mean, it's such a fantastic place to not only live, but actually the business environment is wonderful. So we're thrilled to be here in Arizona and specifically here in Scottsdale.
I feel like we have a good balance between all of the different variables. Even like COVID, I'd way rather be in Arizona right now, the way the Arizona policies are with respect to COVID than almost anywhere else because, again, it feels like I can live as opposed to, we just canceled this trip to San Francisco because a lot of places are still closed and they haven't gone back to relative normalcy yet, which is crazy.
I kind of call us the common sense state.
Yeah.
Even politically, we're in the middle. I mean, it's common sense.
We sometimes make the news for the wrong stuff, but I agree. To a large extent, we seem to have our shit together, which is nice.
I agree. Or we're willing to change if we don't. Right? We're just not hunkering down on one side of the issue or other. So I agree. I love it here. It's great.
Anyway. Congrats on the success.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much,
You
Alexi.
too.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. All right, you made it to the end of the episode. I would love to get your feedback, so take a moment to leave a genuine review in your favorite podcast app. That also helps us reach more people. Speaking of reach, if you like a particular episode, be sure to share it with someone who you think would enjoy it. See you next time.